We're going to go ahead and explain a little bit more on why it is that we're seeing the Aurora borealis so far south in areas that we typically don't get to see it. So our sun, our closest star, is made up of all of these different types of particles. It has the same layering that we do here on Earth. And every now and then the sun goes through these active cycles. Right now, we're reaching that solar maximum where the sun will start to emit some of this heat and these charged particles. We're going to call this the solar wind, and those will travel through space. Now, as those travels through space, sometimes Earth, where we are, will be in the path of these heat and these particles and this magnetic field that come from the sun. Now, as it moves through space, our magnetic field here on Earth usually protects us from those particles that become emitted from the sun, kind of like a shield. But sometimes, well, the sun can really emit some significant amounts of those particles, and it really will then start to bend our magnetic field, really at the poles especially. This is where, when we get those higher than normal amounts of particles coming from that sun, well, that's where we'll call those the coronal mass ejection, or commonly known as a CME. So as they make their way to the poles, that's where we then start to get the Aurora borealis. The Aurora borealis is one that we see in the northern hemisphere, and then the Aurora australis is in the southern hemisphere. But once those particles really start to interact with parts of our atmosphere, really the oxygen and nitrogen that we have in our atmosphere, that's when we'll get to see the really pretty colors of light that we get to see from the Aurora borealis. So the reds and the greens, typically in the higher levels of the atmosphere interacting with the oxygen, that's where we've seen those reds and some of the little spots of green for us here in New Mexico. So what's the likelihood of us getting to see that again tonight? Well, forecasters for the Storm Prediction Center are predicting another chance for us to get to see that. Unfortunately, we don't really get to see them throughout the day, but there is that potential of higher clouds moving throughout the day as well. And we can even see some of those clouds sticking around through portions of the evening. So at least for the evening time frame, we'll see some mostly clear, and then starting off for the evening. And then as we head into the later evening hours, we may battle a little bit more of some of that extra cloud cover. Otherwise,